Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of The Expert of Subtle Revisions by Kirsten Menger-Anderson. This is a lit, thick historical fiction, very light sci-fi, coming out March 18th, 2025 from Crown Publishing. I received this art from NetGalley in exchange for a fair review. A layered blend of historical fiction, sci-fi, and literary fiction, The Expert of Subtle Revisions is as clever as it is engrossing. What is it about? In Half Moon Bay, California, 2016, a young woman waits for her father's sailboat to arrive at port. They have agreed to meet on this day and time, yet he never shows. He has told her this event might come, and if it did, she was ready. Go to the library in Berkeley, find a certain book, follow the instructions. But what if the instructions lead to more questions than answers? In 1933, a young man arrives in Vienna to begin a new post as professor of mathematics at the university. There he finds himself part of the Engelhardt Circle, a group of intellectuals that have recently been targeted by a growing anti-academic mob. The circle includes the preeminent minds of their time and a cast of characters desperate to get invited into their midst, many of whom will stop at nothing to get there. As fascism rises and polarization increases, moderate voices are drowned out. There are whispers of a machine, a music box, which can transport someone through time. But no one can confirm if it's a rumor or true, and the only people who know firsthand are not talking. Between the young woman who lives off the grid and spends her free time editing Wikipedia articles and picking fights with people online, and the circle of intellectuals debating space and time in Vienna on the eve of World War II, lie years of history that might easily be erased unless old secrets are unraveled. The cover is what drew me into this book, and it has complete relevance to the story. In truth, this is a time travel paradox novel, as the blurb said, but how it plays out is intricate and less about the mechanics of the device, like process, than the impact it has on the relationships between the characters. It's a mystery with intricate clues, surprising connections, and a satisfying result. The novel follows three perspectives: Hayes, Anton, and Joseph. Hayes is in the near present, and then the two men are in Vienna leading up to World War II. The rise of fascism in the interim war period is an important aspect of the story, both plot-wise and thematically, and the author provides a good deal of context for this, though I will say it is helpful if you go into the story knowing a bit about politics and society in that era. I do, so I was like, ooh, because I really like the interwar period. I actually am more of a fan of World War One, but yeah, like that whole area, everything from like the 1910s to like the 1940s, I really find interesting and fascinating. So I was like, oh, I love books that are set at this time, because you get a lot of books set like in World War Two, and not as many set kind of like 10 years before, that kind of thing. Yet, even if the setting hadn't been so well wrought, the characters would have carried it quite easily. They are fantastic. Hayes is a very strange individual with weird hobbies and deep introversion, yet she isn't shy or scared or whatever stereotype generally applies to those who prefer to live on the outskirts of society. I adored her from the start. I just love quirky, weird characters. Sometimes I, kind of wish I was one myself. I think I'm too boring. And then we have the boys who grow into men, one who is heartbreakingly likable and the other who is quite awful, but in a way that is very human. And he is such due to like a mix of circumstances and personal failings. He's a complex villain, I guess you could say. I will say for the first little bit, I got Anton and Joseph confused in their perspectives, but in retrospect, I think their similarities had a purpose, one going back to how society shapes us. So I think that was almost intentional, that when I was reading, I'd be like, wait, is this Anton or Joseph? Everyone in the story is not happy, or they are suffering from something, whether societal, existential, or tangible, or all three. Yet the book carries with it a lightness, a sense of hope. It's never depressing. It's never like dull or like really sad. It's just, that something is going to change. The book is also extremely well balanced. There are moments of humor, tender romance, tension, and mystery. I was enthralled the entire time. I don't know. I couldn't put this book down. The writing is lovely, with beautiful turns of phrase and artful descriptions. Now, I'm going to quote a couple. They're from an arc, so they may be changed or removed in the final version, but I just want to explain kind of how well written this book is. The sea is telling us something, I explained, and my father agreed that the message, however unclear, must be very important. I sometimes think love is like this. We hear only the crash of its waves. So nice. And our loves were just a shadow that would lift once we changed the light. I thought that was nice too. The conclusion is absolutely stunning. It's not so much an explanation or a twist. I mean, there are some, as like a turn of events. And that in itself made the main trope, the only thing about this book that makes it even remotely sci-fi, work quite well, actually. It's very hard to make time travel work without holes, in my opinion, but this book really pulls it off. In fact, I used to find time travel stories kind of annoying, but in recent years, authors seem to have been upping their game with it, and I've been enjoying them quite a bit. Perhaps it's no longer a trope that I don't care for. And maybe the reason why sci-fi books have been getting better in the sense of like being more careful about how they approach time travel is because of Marvel. Like, Marvel definitely made time travel more accessible, and like time loops and that kind of thing. And so maybe books have to, up their game even more. So here's a question for the comments. Do you prefer time loops or time paradoxes? Anyway, back to this book. It is strange. It's thoughtful. It's unique. I will think about this book for a long time, and I'm going to delight in rereading it again in the future. I'm totally buying a physical copy. I highly recommend it, and thank you so much to the publisher and NetGalley for approving my review request. It was great. So thank you.